Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Nitin Joshi, Professor Neurology with teaching experience of 25 years, working as consultant neurosurgeon in Panvel. Today, we'll discuss important considerations to be taken into account while operating on right or left kidney. The most commonly performed surgeries on kidney are radical nephrectomy, nephron sparing surgery in case of renal cell carcinoma, partial nephrectomy, pyeloplasty, ureterocalicostomy, or ileal ureter. First, we will consider surgery on right side of kidney. Initially, we will consider relationship of right kidney. Posterior surface of right kidney is embedded in fat and devoid of peritoneal covering. It lies on diaphragm, that is medial and lateral lumbocostal arches. Also, right kidney rests on 12th rib, that is right kidney is related to pleura at level of 12th rib. In lower aspect, right kidney is related to psoas major muscle, quadratus lumborum muscle, and aponeurotic tendon of transversus abdominis muscle. Along with there is presence of subcostal vessels, subcostal nerve, iliohypogastric nerve, and ilioinguinal nerve. Now we will see anterior surface relations of right kidney. The right kidney is related to a small area of upper pole of right kidney is in contact with right adrenal gland. This right adrenal gland may overlap even the upper part of medial border of right kidney. Right adrenal gland is yellowish colored, roughly triangular shaped body, flattened antero-posteriorly, situated posterior to inferior vena cava and right lobe of liver. Next, second relationship is large area, almost 3/4 of anterior surface of right lobe below area for right adrenal is related to right lobe of liver. On right lobe of liver, there is a depression called renal impression and it is for anterior surface of right kidney. A narrow area near medial border of right kidney is in contact with second part, that is descending part of duodenum. So, right renal artery, right renal vein and medial border of right kidney are posterior to second, that is descending part of duodenum, and hence cauterization of duodenum helps in exposure of right artery, right renal artery, right adrenal vein, right renal pelvis and anterior surface of right kidney. Anterior surface of right kidney, inferolateral aspect in addition is related to hepatic flexure of colon, while anterior surface of the inferomedial aspect of right kidney is related to coils of small intestine. So in case of surgery on right kidney, in presence of significant perirenal scarring and fibrosis, right kidney may be adherent to second part of duodenum, right lobe of liver, hepatic flexure of colon and coils or loops of small intestine. Also, because of this, that is this relationship, whenever one is releasing the dense adhesions of the adherent right kidney to the intraperitoneal or retroperitoneal surrounding structures, accidentally bowel may get opened, and when on opening of the bowel, if bile leaks, it is the second part of duodenum. On the other hand, if mucus with fecal matter leaks, it is the large intestine. The lateral aspect, that is the lateral border of right kidney, is separated from right lobe of liver by peritoneum of Gretel sac. Also, in case of significant perirenal scarring, there can be intense fibrotic inflammatory reaction in retroperitoneum, and on the right side of midline, the major vessel is inferior vena cava, and so inferior vena cava may be pulled more towards right kidney. The right kidney is smaller in size than left kidney. Right kidney is situated at slightly lower level than left kidney due to presence of liver on right side. And so, in case of right radical nephrectomy, thoraco-abdominal incision is mandatory because many times one requires proper mobilization of liver. The major vessel to which right kidney is related is inferior vena cava, while the major vessel to which left kidney is related is abdominal aorta. The right renal vein is shorter in length than left renal vein. The right renal vein is almost half the length of left renal vein. The length of right renal vein is 2 to 4.5 cm with average of 3.2 cm, while the length of left renal vein is between 6 to 11 cm with average of 8.4 cm. The right renal vein is short in length but is uncomplicated, as right renal vein is single, but in case of left renal vein, though it is long in length, rarely it can be duplicated. Also, though right renal vein is short in length, does not receive any visceral or parietal tributary. On the other hand, though left renal vein is longer in length, receives various tributaries which are both visceral and parietal in origin. The tributaries which left renal vein receives are inferior phrenic vein, adrenal vein, gonadal vein, and occasionally lumbar vein. Right renal vein is not only short in length, but it also widens before the right renal vein opens into right side of inferior vena cava. So, tie at level of entrance of right renal vein into inferior vena cava may slip off, which may result as a hole in inferior vena cava during nephrectomy. So, to prevent slipping of ligature, ligation can be done after application of Satinski clamp. Normally, in right renal vein, no tributaries open. This is because right adrenal vein and right gonadal vein opens into inferior vena cava. When approach to kidney is intraperitoneal, then right renal vein is anterior to right renal artery. Right renal artery is a large lateral branch arising from abdominal aorta. Right renal artery arises below the level of origin of superior mesenteric artery and origin of right middle suprarenal artery. Right renal artery is longer in length than left renal artery. Right renal artery arises on left side of midline and then passes to right behind inferior vena cava and behind right renal vein, head of pancreas, and descending or second part of duodenum. Normally, right renal artery branches into its segmental branches just before it enters hilum. These segmental branches are apical, upper, middle, lower, and posterior. However, branching can take place even much away from the hilum, that is, much more laterally. Particularly, usually the first branch to arise from the main renal artery is its posterior division. Hence, as a rule, while doing nephrectomy, the renal artery during ligation should be ligated as laterally as possible, that is, as away from hilum as possible. This is because if renal artery is ligated closer to hilum, then there is a risk of missing the early branched segmental branch, causing troublesome intraoperative bleeding. These segmental branches lie between renal pelvis and renal vein. Each renal artery gives blood supply to ipsilateral adrenal gland through a branch called inferior adrenal artery, and also supplies branches to upper ureter, surrounding cellular tissues and muscles. Of the total kidneys, 25% of kidneys show an accessory renal artery, while about 1% of total kidneys show more than one accessory artery. Accessory arteries are frequently seen at the level of lower pole than upper pole, and accessory arteries arise as a lateral branch of aorta and runs parallel to main renal artery. In case of surgery on right kidney or left kidney, there can be retroperitoneal hemorrhage from IVC or its tributaries. Vena cava hemorrhage is usually caused by laceration or avulsion of large and fragile veins entering inferior vena cava at predictable site. Lumbar veins open on posterolateral aspect of inferior vena cava at each vertebral level. Undue traction on inferior vena cava can result into avulsion of these veins entering into IVC, causing troublesome bleeding. So, retract IVC gently with curved vein retractor. Whenever there is bleeding from inferior vena cava well itself, then for proper control of inferior vena cava proximally and distally, additional mobilization of IVC is required. And when additional mobilization of IVC is required, these veins which are entering IVC at predictable site should be dissected from surrounding structures. These veins which are dissected then identified, isolated, ligated and cut to prevent their avulsion. The ligatures should not be tied too tightly while ligating, because tying too tightly these veins may result into shearing through the fragile venous wall, which will cause further bleeding. In case of severe right perirenal scarring involving retroperitoneum, IVC may be pulled more towards right kidney, and also due to intense fibrotic reaction, entry of the right renal vein or even left renal vein into IVC or entry of various tributaries entering into IVC may be difficult to identify. The main aim of dissection in this situation is to dissect IVC away from the fibrotic inflammatory phlegmon. So identification and definition of the IVC should be done in virgin area, which is to be performed very slowly, meticulously, and in this case the suction may act as a blunt dissector. Dissection in the region of IVC is done with the help of vascular tissue forceps with mixture. Dissection is done in direction parallel to inferior vena cava. In order to identify entry of renal veins and other veins like adrenal or gonadal into IVC, IVC is initially made bare. To make IVC bare, the fibropathy tissue over IVC is separated by vascular tissue forceps and mixture, then ligated and cut so as to prevent leakage of lymph due to injury to lymphatics. If there is active bleeding due to avulsion of right renal artery or left renal artery at their entrance into IVC, then as per rules of whenever major vascular catastrophe intraoperatively, first rule is pack the wound with multiple sterile mops for 10 minutes. During this waiting period, arrange or ask for blood if required. Arrange for more vascular forceps and vascular clamps. Arrange for good suction, better light, multiple sterile mops, vascular suture material like 40 or 50 proline, and if required more assistance. Before removal of pack, bring suction close to rent. While assistant is removing pack with 50 proline, operating surgeon will take initial part of figure of 8. That is, will take stitch involving a part of rent and will give traction on this stitch, which will reduce the severity of bleeding, and then the operating surgeon will take second stitch and tie to form figure of 8. Assistant sister will keep on spraying saline on hands of operating surgeon. Or if there is a major IVC tear at the junction of entry of renal vein left or right into inferior vena cava, then initially fossa is packed with multiple mops for 10 minutes. When all required instruments, suture material, suction, light, mops are ready, then the mops are removed slowly to identify the source of bleeding. While when the mops are removed, that time vascular clamp like Satansky and Debicki is kept ready in right hand so that vascular clamp can be applied below the site of tear in curved fashion. So now the wall of IVC beyond the tear will be protruding beyond the vascular clamp. This protruding wall of IVC is sutured with vascular suture like 5-0 Proli. Suturing is started at one end of tear in inferior vena cava. The two ends of suture after tying are kept long so that tying can be done with hands rather than needle holder, which is much faster and will cause less trauma to wall of IVC. The suturing is started at one end and then continued over and over, not only up to the other end of tear in IVC, but continued even beyond the tear and then tied. While taking over and over sutures, sisters keep on spraying saline on suture material. After complete suturing, keeping mops and suction ready, then only the ratchets of vascular clamp are released but not removed. After release of the ratchets, if one observes and confirms that there is no bleeding, then only the vascular clamp is removed from the site of tear in IVC. While operating on the right kidney, mobilization of ascending colon with along the white line of Told may be required in case of right radical nephrectomy or simple nephrectomy for non-functioning kidney but very badly stuck, or in case of right ileal ureter. Now we'll see the surgery on the left side of kidney. Initially we'll consider the relations of left kidney. Posterior surface of left kidney is also embedded in fat and devoid of peritoneal cavity. It lies on diaphragm, that is medial and lateral lumbocostal arches. Also, left kidney rests on 11th and 12th rib. That is, left kidney is related to pleura at level of 11th and 12th rib. In lower aspect, left kidney is related to psoas major muscle, quadratus lumborum muscle and aponeurotic tendon of transversus abdominis muscle, and also with subcostal vessels, subcostal nerve, iliohypogastric nerve and ilioinguinal nerve. Now we'll see the relations of anterior surface of left kidney. On the anterior surface of the left kidney, a small area along its upper pole extending even up to the medial border is in relation to left adrenal gland. About upper 2/3 of left anterior surface but lateral aspect of the kidney is in contact with the renal impression on spleen. Somewhat quadrilateral area about middle of anterior surface of left kidney is in contact with body and tail of pancreas with splenic vessels. Above pancreas there is small triangular region between the suprarenal area and splenic area which is in contact with stomach. Below pancreatic and splenic area, lateral part of anterior surface of left kidney is in relation with splenic flexure of colon and commencement of descending colon, while medial part is in contact with coils of small intestine, particularly jejunum. Thus, left kidney is related to left adrenal gland, stomach, spleen, pancreas, splenic flexure of colon, descending colon and coils of small intestine, particularly jejunum. So while operating on left kidney in presence of significant perirenal scarring and fibrosis, left kidney may be adherent to spleen, pancreas, stomach, splenic flexure of colon, or coils of small intestine, particularly jejunum. Also, due to intense fibrotic reaction in retroperitoneum, aorta, which is a major vessel on left side, may be pulled more towards left side. While operating on left kidney, mobilization of descending colon along white line of Toll may be required. This is particularly in case of left radical nephrectomy, left simple nephrectomy in presence of grossly adherent left kidney or left ileal ureter. Splenic flexure of colon is more densely organized and contain more blood vessels than hepatic flexure. So while mobilizing splenic flexure of colon, in order to prevent splenic capsular tear and major splenic injury, two ligaments have to be released at level of splenic flexure of colon. These two ligaments are, first is splenicocholic ligament and its extension called phrenicocholic ligament, while the second ligament is linorenal ligament. Splenicocholic ligament is a fold of peritoneum extending from lower or anterior end of spleen in mid-axillary line to splenic flexure of colon. The same fold of peritoneum then extends upwards from splenic flexure of colon to undersurface of left side of diaphragm and then to left 11-3, and this is called as phrenicocholic ligament. To release splenicocholic ligament and its extension called phrenicocholic ligament, splenic flexure is pulled downwards and to right to make the fold of peritoneum, that is ligament, prominent, which is coagulated and then cut. The second ligament is linorenal ligament. It is a fold of peritoneum extending from hilum of spleen to posterior abdominal wall through left kidney. So, it is a fold of peritoneum extending from spleen to anterior surface of upper pole of left kidney. To make this linorenal ligament prominent, Girota's fascia is pushed downwards and to right. Then the fold of peritoneum is coagulated and then cut so as to release the splenic flexure. Left renal artery is a left-sided lateral branch of aorta arising immediately below origin of superior mesenteric artery and origin of left middle suprarenal artery. Left renal artery lies behind left renal vein, body of pancreas, splenic vein, and may be crossed anteriorly by inferior mesenteric vein. The left renal artery gives branches to upper ureter and a branch to left adrenal gland called inferior adrenal artery. Accessory renal arteries are more common on left side. Accessory renal artery arise above or below the main renal artery. Accessory renal artery arising above the main renal artery is more common. Accessory arteries can enter at level of upper pole or lower pole. Accessory artery to lower pole crosses in front of ureter. These accessory arteries run parallel to main renal artery. Left renal vein is comparatively longer in length than right renal vein. The left renal vein is almost double in length than the right renal vein. The long length of left renal vein is one of the selection criteria for preferring left kidney in donor nephrectomy. The length of right renal vein is 2 to 4.5 cm with average of 3.2 cm, while length of left renal vein is between 6 to 11 cm with average of 8.4 cm. Though left renal vein is longer in length, it is somewhat complicated. This is because rarely it is duplicated and receives many tributaries, which are both visceral and parietal in origin. The tributaries which left renal vein receive are inferior phrenic vein, left adrenal vein, left gonadal vein, and sometimes lumbar vein. Inferior phrenic vein and left adrenal vein opens into left renal vein from above. Left gonadal vein opens into left renal vein from below, and lumbar veins, when open into left renal vein, they open posteriorly. In case of inferior phrenic vein, it may open into left renal vein directly, or inferior phrenic vein may join left adrenal vein on its medial aspect before the left adrenal vein opens into left renal vein. And this variation is important to remember when one is operating on the adrenal gland. The left renal vein passes from hilum of left kidney to right towards IVC. While passing towards IVC, it passes behind splenic vein and body of pancreas. So the relationship of body of pancreas, splenic vein and left renal vessels from anterior to posterior are: anteriormost is the body of pancreas, then the splenic vein, then the left renal vein, and most posterior one is the left renal artery. Near termination, left renal vein passes in front of abdominal aorta, just below origin of superior mesenteric artery. Left adrenal vein, which opens into left renal vein from above, that opening of left adrenal vein is just lateral to crossing of left renal vein over abdominal aorta. That is, just after opening of left adrenal vein from above into left renal vein, then the left renal vein crosses anterior to abdominal aorta. Again, this relationship is important while operating on the left adrenal gland. While operating on the left side of kidney, there can be major injury to aorta, particularly while operating on left kidney with severe perirenal scarring, where extensive fibrotic reaction in retroperitoneum may extend to involve even abdominal aorta. In presence of severe perivascular fibrotic reaction, that is in presence of severe periarteriolar fibrotic reaction, repair of injured aorta with vascular suture like 4-0-proline, 5-0-proline may turn out to be extremely difficult. This is because in presence of such significant retroperitoneal fibrosis, application of vascular clamps like Satansky or DeBakey may be difficult or impossible. And also, when one starts suturing tear in the abdominal aorta with vascular suture like 4-0-proline or 5-0-proline, then while taking stitch, tear starts increasing in the size. It may get enlarged. So the technique of control of bleeding in this difficult situation is insertion of adequate size sterile Foley's catheter through aortic puncture site into lumen of aorta. Then balloon of Foley's catheter is inflated with sterile 10 cc normal saline. Now Foley's catheter is slowly pulled out of lumen of puncture site. So balloon of Foley's catheter is now sitting across the puncture in aorta. This will act as a tamponade. Immediately bleeding will come under control. Now around this aortic puncture, take transfixation or purse string suture like appendicular stump with 4-0-chlorine. Taking care that while taking transfixation suture around the balloon which is inflated, needle of the 4-0-proline should not penetrate the wall of aorta deeply, because if once penetrate the wall of aorta deeply, there is a risk of puncture of balloon of Foley's catheter. When all around the balloon, once the purse string suture is taken, now balloon of the catheter is slowly deflated, and when the balloon is completely deflated, assistant surgeon will remove the Foley's catheter through the puncture site and when assistant is removing the Foley's catheter, simultaneously operating surgeon will tighten the purse-string suture so as to close the aortic puncture properly. On this sutured puncture, keep the MOPS for 10 minutes and observe. Bleeding will be controlled properly. Thank you very much.